Chapter 5 Solving the puzzle. A quarter of an hour later, Chu Yanmen brought the things in and placed them in the hall. The three adults scanned their utensils, and then turned to Su Quan. Here is everything you asked for. Make sure you give your official a satisfactory answer. His attitude changed in a quarter of an hour. The official racked his brains for a long time and had to admit that Suki An's inference was very reasonable. But there were still many doubts that had not been solved, such as the fact that the tax silver fell into the river. There was something in it that he could not understand. Su Qian nodded and squatted down in front of the utensils, the props in front of him. We are candles, salt, porcelain cups and iron wire. His task is simple. High school chemistry. Extract sodium metal. In ancient times, it is impossible to extract this stuff. Two difficulties: electricity, sodium chloride melting point. But in this world, Su knew there was a profession that could do just that. Stewards. Warlock. 6. Alchemy. Alchemists belong to the household name profession in Dafeng. Their various inventions, creation, has been integrated into the life of ordinary people. Suki and is not sure that the explosion of tax silver must be metal sodium. This is not important. It is important to open a train of thought, to explain the phenomenon of tax silver explosion in the process of solving a case. Bold hypothesis. Rigorous reasoning is the prerequisite work. The last thing is to verify, to collect evidence. A previous life had encountered a murder that made him remember the Interpol all night long. According to the clues to open the imagination, do several case process speculation. Based on this, to collect evidence, and then they throw it all out and start reasoning again. Tax silver might not be sodium metal, but alchemists can do it anyway. That's enough. Setting the adults in the right direction. That's what he's doing. The direction is right. You can follow the trail to investigate. It is not difficult to find out the culprits. If you still struggle in the thinking of demonic disturbance, the case will never be solved. Even if the case is solved in the future, he has already sent you away from the court, thousands of miles away. He melted the kosher salt with water, stirred it, covered the rim of the cup, and slowly poured in the salt water. After straining, the cup is roasted over a candle, stirring constantly with a skewer. After a while, the salt water in the cup dries, and the crystals out are sodium chloride. Is essentially refining the salt further. Chen Faiyin, a middle-aged man, a girl with a yellow skirt, and a high-level appearance. Three people stood on the side and watched intently. Suki and raised his head and grinned at the girl in the yellow dress. Your Excellency is a disciple of the Si Tianguan. He noticed the Feng Shui PL8 on his waist, which was used by no one but the disciples of the Si Tianguan yellow skirt girl. Grinning happily wrote, Home teacher is the Department of Supervision. Her oval face, delicate and bright, was as white as a shelled egg. His disciple, it doesn't matter about the boobs. Suki in tone of gentle trouble. Sister, for me to melt these crystals, sodium chloride is about 800 degrees Celsius. Yellow skirt girl. Deflated mouth. Fire control is alchemy. To have the ability, I just a Feng Shui master, but my master gave me an artifact. She said. A turn off the waist of the Feng Shui plate. Green onion jade refers to a few times. Key input. Fire word lit up. Get back. Suki and immediately backed away. The next moment, bright enough to dazzling flame spewed, flooded the porcelain cup. Stop. Suki and immediately shouted stop, then quickly put 2 pieces of wire into the porcelain cup. Asked, electricity? No. It's thunder. Note the control voltage well. It's a difficult step, and it may fail many times. She turned the Feng Shui disc. Green jade pointing bright thunderward. The void flashed a few arcs, touching the wire. Dizzy. The molten sodium chloride undergoes a violent chemical reaction. Stop. Suki and held his breath and moved to the mouth of the cup to see a lump of silver bright metal forming, with some crystals and impurities that had not been transformed at the edge. Actually a one-time success. The voltage is just right. Su 7 and surprised. Electrolytic sodium metal, about 615 volts. He prepared for repeated failures. I didn't expect the emperor to have it. Chen Faiyin and the middle-aged man can't wait to look together. The cup is a lump of silver metal. At first glance, and silver is quite similar. Chen Faiyan's pupils shrank and her heart was shocked. Li Yachen clenched his fist and stared at the silver metal block, as if lightning had split through his mind, splitting all the fog. Please look at the adults. Su Qi and poured out the metal sodium, wrapped it in rice paper, and weighed it in his hand. It is much lighter than silver, but its appearance is very similar. If someone passes it off as silver, can it pass it off as real? A few grown-ups can weigh it. He gave the metal sodium to Chen Faiyin. At this time, the metal sodium color gradually turned dim, and silver is almost identical. The middle-aged man took it and weighed it. His eyes shining, he repeated, "It is much lighter. If this is what is being transported, it is reasonable. Miss Kwei, try it." Yellow-skirt girl took it, weigh it, and then look at Su Qi and I'll stare you. "You are alchemy." "No, I'm not. I'm just a chemical porter." After the scholar's thoughts were more active, Chen Faiyin, surprised, suddenly shook her head and muttered, No. Even if the silver has been replaced like this, what about the explosion? If there were no evil in the river, the fake silver would not have exploded. Su Qi and did not answer, but reached for the metal sodium, walked to the desk, and threw it into the pen top. A blazing fire lit up and smoke billowed. Boom. The metal sodium reacts violently in the water and cracks the pen wash jar. This misses. Chen was stunned. The fake silver explodes when it hits the water, which explains why it explodes so violently when it hits the water. Su Qi and explained. The middle-aged man murmured, "From the very beginning, we were misled. The mastermind made us think it was evil by explosions and wind, and focused on tracking and searching. No wonder the key observation technique of the Qin Heavenly Supervisor could not detect demons." Su Qi and added, "After the tax silver fell into the water, the soldiers only recovered more than 1,000 taels of silver. If they are right, the silver was spread on the top layer to hide it from the public. It's a perfect fit. All the anomalies fit Su Quan." The middle-aged man's eyes are full of approval. "Good. You are very good." Eyebrows suddenly a wrinkle in Su Qi, and crooked neckline solidified. Li Yachen then packed the shoulder action to help him pull the neckline neatly. Su Qi and was flattered that the adult was so appreciative of himself. The concubine frowned and said, "Since the silver is fake, what happened to the real silver?" Yellow-skirt girl heard word, also showing dignified color, "Tax silver out into Beijing, layer upon layer, change hands. To be convicted, a large number of officials have to go to prison. The difficulty of recovering the silver, like looking for a needle in a haystack, and it is beyond our power to inform your majesty." Mrs. Chen nodded. That was what he meant. Middle-aged man has a different view. Deep voice, "Tax silver all the way to Beijing, layer upon layer, change hands. If false, should have been discovered. The only way it could be is if it was switched recently." Chen Faiyan's eyes lit up, which greatly narrowed the scope of the investigation. "Somebody, get your sedan chair, get your sedan chair. This official is going out." The Chen family rushed eagerly out of the hall. The middle-aged man followed Su Qi and shouted, "Your Excellency, don't forget your promise to the grass people."